Once upon a time, there was a boy named James. He lived in a small town where everyone spoke his native language. James always dreamed of visiting faraway places and making friends from all over the world. One day, he heard about the importance of learning English and how it could open new doors to him, letting him talk to people from every corner of the earth. James had a friend named Amelia. She was smart and kind, but she always felt shy when she had to speak English in front of others. James and Amelia decided they would learn English together. They promised each other to never give up, no matter how hard it seemed. They laughed when they made mistakes, like calling a bear a beer, but they kept going because they knew every mistake was a step forward. Their teacher, Mr. William, told them, "English is not just a language, it's a bridge to new opportunities." He shared his own story about when he was young and how learning English helped him get a good job and travel to places he had never imagined visiting. This inspired James and Amelia even more. James met his cousin Olivia, who had just returned from America. Olivia was full of stories about her adventures. She told them how English helped her make friends with people from different countries. James listened carefully as Olivia said, "I was once scared too, James. But the more you use English, the less afraid you feel." He felt hopeful because he knew if Olivia could do it, then he could too. One day, while studying, Amelia burst into tears. She felt like she would never be able to speak English fluently. James put his arm around her and said, "Amelia, do you remember how we fell when we were learning to ride bikes? We got hurt, but we got back up and tried again. Learning English is the same. It will take time, but we will get there." Amelia smiled through her tears and nodded. She knew James was right. As they continued their journey, they learned that the key to mastering English was practice. They started talking to each other in English every day. They also made new friends like Sophia, who loved to read English books. Sophia shared how reading short stories helped her learn new words and understand how sentences were built. James and Amelia started reading too, even if it was just a few pages each day. One cold evening, James felt frustrated because he couldn't understand some words in a book he was reading. He wanted to give up. Then he remembered his father, Robert, who always said, "Son, nothing good in life comes easy. You have to work for it." James wiped his tears, opened his book again, and kept reading. Amelia decided to listen to English songs because she loved music. She sang along with the lyrics, even if she didn't understand all the words. Slowly, her pronunciation got better, and she felt more confident. She realized that English wasn't just a subject, it was becoming a part of her life. One day, while walking in the park, they met a boy named Daniel. Daniel was new in town and didn't know their language, but he spoke English. James and Amelia talked to him, and for the first time, they realized how far they had come. They were speaking in English without feeling scared. They made a new friend because they didn't give up when it was difficult. James and Amelia learned that English was not just about words or grammar, it was about connecting with people, sharing stories and understanding others. Amelia remembered when she used to cry because she thought she couldn't learn. Now she was helping others who felt the same way. Learning English gave them hope. James thought about his dream of traveling and knew that now it was possible. He imagined himself in places like New York, London, and Sydney, making friends with people from different cultures. His heart felt full because he knew that English was his ticket to a bigger world. They kept a little diary of all the new words they learned each day. Whenever they felt sad or lost, they would read through it and remember how far they had come. The diary became a book full of their memories, mistakes, and achievements. It was proof that they were growing, not just in language but as people. Amelia said, "James, I used to think I wasn't smart enough to learn English. Now I feel like I can do anything if I just try." James nodded and replied, "Me too, Amelia. Learning English taught me that I'm stronger than I thought. I'm never giving up on my dreams." Their journey wasn't over yet, but they knew they were not alone. They had each other, their memories, and their dreams. They had the courage to keep moving forward, even when it felt like they were standing still. James looked at the sky one evening, the sun setting in beautiful colors, and thought, this is just the beginning. He knew that every day was a chance to learn more, to grow more, and to become more of who they were meant to be. James and Amelia kept pushing forward, each day bringing new challenges and new joys. One rainy afternoon, they met an old man named Arthur sitting on a park bench. He was reading a book in English. They were curious and asked him how he had learned to speak English so well. Arthur smiled warmly and said, "When I was your age, I didn't know a single word of English. But I learned a little bit every day. The secret is to love the process, even when it's tough. Find a reason why you want to learn, something that keeps you going when you feel like giving up." James thought about what Arthur said and asked himself why he wanted to learn English so much. He remembered the look on his cousin Olivia's face when she talked about her travels and the way Daniel smiled when they spoke to him in English. He realized that English wasn't just a subject in school, it was his key to understanding the world and making new friends. Amelia remembered her dream of becoming a writer one day. She imagined her stories being read by people all over the world, touching their hearts just like her favorite books touched hers. She knew that to make her dream come true, she needed to be able to write her stories in English. One evening, as they sat in James's room, practicing their English, they both felt a little stuck. The words didn't come out right, and they were tired. James sighed and said, "Amelia, I feel like we're not getting any better. What if we're just wasting our time?" Amelia looked at James and said, "Do you remember that story about the bamboo tree, James? It takes years for a bamboo tree to even break through the ground, but once it does, it grows so fast, it's like magic. Maybe we're like that tree. Maybe we just have to keep going, even if we can't see the progress right now." James smiled at Amelia's words. She was right. They were planting seeds. and one day they would see their hard work turn into something beautiful. They promised each other that no matter how hard it got, they would never give up. They started to do little things in English every day. When they went to the grocery store, they would try to name all the items in English. When they watched movies, they turned on the English subtitles and repeated the lines they heard. They even began to write letters to each other in English, sharing their thoughts and feelings. One day, Amelia's little sister Mia joined them. Mia was only 8 years old, but she wanted to learn English too. She said, "I want to be like you, Amelia. I want to speak English and travel the world." Amelia's eyes filled with tears as she hugged her sister tightly. She remembered when she was like Mia, looking up to people who spoke English with such ease and grace. Mia's words reminded them of how far they had come. They weren't just learning for themselves anymore, they were becoming role models for others. They realized that English was more than just a language, it was a way to inspire and to be inspired. James remembered a day when his father, Robert, told him, "Son, English will help you more than you can imagine. It will be like a friend that stands by your side in the hardest of times." James didn't fully understand what his father meant back then, but now he did. When he felt lonely or confused, he found comfort in the words he learned. English gave him hope, it gave him strength, and it gave him a way to express the things he felt inside. One day, in the middle of their practice, they got a message from their friend Charlotte. She had moved to another country and was struggling to make friends because her English wasn't very good. She wrote, "I feel so alone. I don't know if I'll ever get better at this." Amelia's heart ached when she read Charlotte's message. She knew that feeling too well. She wrote back, "Charlotte, we've all been there. It's hard, but it's not impossible. Every time you feel like giving up, remember that we're here with you, cheering you on. You're not alone in this." James added, "Charlotte, do you remember when we were kids and we couldn't ride our bikes without falling? Now we ride them like it's nothing. English is like that. You'll fall a lot, but one day you'll just find yourself riding." Charlotte wrote back a simple thank you, but they could tell their words had made a difference. They realized that their journey wasn't just about learning English for themselves, it was also about helping others find their way. As the days turned into weeks, James and Amelia grew stronger, not just in English but in their belief in themselves. They knew they could face any challenge if they had each other and the courage to keep going. Amelia's dream of writing stories in English didn't seem so far away anymore, and James could almost taste the excitement of traveling to new places, meeting new people, and sharing his story in a language that connected the whole world. They knew their journey was far from over, and they were ready for the road ahead. They believed that every day was a new chance to learn, to grow, and to be the best versions of themselves.